Hello, I'm Bliznub, and welcome to Building the Best. Today we're going to be looking at the War, probably the most expensive weapon currently in my inventory, and one of the most impressive, I have to admit, as of course this was wielded by the Shadow Stalker, and with good reason. This damn thing has the highest base damage of any melee in the game, and is without a doubt the best two-handed melee weapon in the game. It is the best. Hold up. Heavy Blade. That's what we're going with. Heavy Blade. So I was comparing there with the Cindo Prime and the Galatine. It definitely dwarfs them. So what we have basically is a relatively fast, for a two-hander, high damage impact weapon with a reasonable amount of crit and status. Definitely enough to build off in either. But I'm going to avoid status because 20% personally I don't think is enough to work with, but 20% crit chance due to blood rush and body count is plenty. So we end up with this, which is a very, very expensive build, I appreciate, but if you are going to be dishing out the amount of plat that war costs, then you're probably willing to put a couple former and a few thousand actually gold fusion cores into some things. So, of course, we start off with Pressure Point for base damage, and Heavy Trauma, or Primed Heavy Trauma in this case, for impact damage. And before you go down to the comments and tell me that impact damage is worthless, it is not. Impact damage has negatives against cloned flesh, and that's it. It has very few positives and very few negatives, and the status proc is very average. It is a very average form of damage, but on the upside there are very few armor types that are resistant to it, so it's actually quite useful. However, if you can't get your hands on Primed Heavy Trauma, what I would recommend is Fever Strike, or, you know, an elemental mod. Molten Impact, Fever Strike, Storm... Shocking Touch, not Stormbringer, my apologies. You know, that kind of thing, because, let's be honest, Primed Heavy Trauma isn't that easy to get your hands on. Now, next up we have Blood Rush and Body Count, of course, giving us the combo duration and the combo crits, which will easily give us near guaranteed yellow crits within seconds of beginning to stack up the combo counter. We then have Berserker and Fury to increase our attack speed, Berserker of course playing off the near guaranteed crits, and finally Organ Shatter buffing up our near guaranteed crits, gotta get tired of saying that, to a fantastic 3.8 times, meaning this weapon is dealing a rather insane amount of base damage and is getting 3.8 times multiplier. Now, I know what you're thinking, 3.8 times 700 isn't actually that much. I mean, it sounds like a lot, you know. When you're popping yellow and red crits all the time, it looks like you're dealing a lot of damage, but it isn't that much. But then you should probably take into account the 1.19 attack speed here, and that's before Berserker. So, yeah, this thing flails around ridiculously fast, and honestly, if you have the Naramon school on, and you whip out the War, you are unstoppable. The only thing I will say, though, is that unfortunately impact damage isn't terribly good against Grineer, and so I recommend popping this off in favour of either Molten Impact or Fever Strike, if you're going to be going up against Grineer. But still, let's try this thing out. Now, unfortunately the sortie today wasn't that great, so as you'll see in a second, I took it to a Tower for Survival and just sort of had a little play. Oh, right, before I go, in that Tower for Survival I said the Galatine was a crit weapon. Ignore that. Completely ignore that. Galatine is not a crit weapon. Still fun though. Anyhow, enjoy. Okay then. So, sortie was a little boring today, so I decided instead to go into a Tower for Survival and just sort of feel when it felt right. And seeing as I'm red critting virtually everything and slaughtering absolutely anything that isn't protected by a healer, and quite a few things that are protected by healers, I think this is the right path. So, anyhow, as you can see, I do of course have the Naramon tree on, providing me with invisibility whenever I crit, which is every time I hit an enemy. And with Tempo Royale, I can just block and flail around furiously. It's a little unfortunate actually that I can't turn off the Naramon tree, because I would like it if you guys could see where I was. But alas, you're just going to have to judge, I guess, that I'm roughly in the middle of the screen, where the dead bodies are. I am definitely where the dead bodies are. Now, to be fair, I'm up at a 3 times multiplier right now on my combo counter, which is where you probably won't get unless you're in a survival or an interception. But you're going to get up to 2.5 times on the combo counter pretty easily. I mean, 2 times you can get up to with this weapon on a single enemy. I mean, quite well, actually, I say that. Perhaps not on a single enemy because you tend to kill them. What with the 600 base damage and the crazy multipliers going on. But anyhow, as I go and revive my delightful assistant, this weapon is insane amounts of fun. And whilst it is a bit expensive, I will admit, in plat terms, I must admit it is a lot of fun and I can highly recommend it. So, my god, this thing is ludicrous. So there we have it. And actually, I almost forgot to say, on the subject of expenses, it is possible to build the wall without spending any plat. You just have to get the blueprint from the Stalker and then sacrifice your broken wall from the quest, of course, in order to build it. It's unfortunate because it means you can't have the broken wall and the wall at the same time unless you pay 595 plat for Hunhaus. Is it got Hunhaus Gift? I think it's Hunhaus Gift. Someone next to me is nodding furiously when I say it's Hunhaus Gift. Anyhow. So yeah, that kind of sucks. So what I would say on that regard is that if you are thinking about getting this weapon, try the Galatine with this build. Its stats are fairly similar. Its reach is about the same. Actually, its reach is exactly the same. And it has the same feel as the War, and you will definitely know from that if you want to get it. Although, to be fair, the Galatine is a crit slash weapon, whereas the War is an impact little bit of everything weapon. So there's that. Anyhow, as I beat this Bombard's face in and get very close to getting a 3.5 times multiplier going on, which is just ludicrous amounts of multiplier. Should happen about 4 or 5 hits here. Yep, there it goes. And just like to say, this is ridiculous amounts of fun, but if you are thinking, you know, it's just a melee and it's 600 plat, you're right, it's probably not worth it, but I don't have the right to tell you what you should and shouldn't spend your hard-earned plats on. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching. As always, please like and comment below and subscribe for more. I'm Bliznub, and this is, of course, The War.